Hey, 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 Facebook fam, what's going on? What's going on? It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, back for another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. So, how y'all doing? Hopefully, everybody's good. Give me some thumbs up, some happy faces, some hearts. If you woke up with your mind stayed on Jesus, woke up, you woke up happy this morning, ready to tackle the world. Um, we're going to jump right into this topic. Um, Interesting topic. Um, I'm going to go ahead and bring my mom on before we go forward with the topic. Let me see. Let me dial her up. There she go primping. There she go primping.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How
There she
is
go
everybody?
primping.
Of course, it's a beautiful day in my neighborhood, and I'm hoping that it's the same in yours. Sun is shining, and I'm just happy to be here. I can breathe. That means I'm alive, and you should do the same thing. Because if you're on this broadcast right now and you can breathe, that's a blessing in itself. So I'm hoping everybody's great. We're gonna have a good time today.
Good morning, Vanita. How are you? What's going on, V?
Hey,
Tierra.
hey.
Hey, Cutie Bob. What's going on, Kevin? So, let's get into this topic. And please do not tell me the generic answer. Like, I want you to really put some thought into it. What's going on, April Sampe?
April! Oh
I
my
want you
God!
guys to really put some thought into this question. And I want the truth, not what sounds good.
Nothing
So,
but the truth.
the question is, what's your order of importance for love, happiness, and wealth? And I put it in the perfect order on purpose because I really want you to give some thought. Like literally look at how you operate and how you move through life. And I want some honest answers of your order of importance based on how you move right now. Um, I'm gonna go ahead. What's going on, Tiara girl? I need you to paint another picture for me. I'm about to give you some work. I'm glad you could join too. So don't be quiet, y'all. I want the truth. I'm gonna go ahead and start with my mama. Yeah, I'm gonna pass this to you.
Not fair, not fair.
I'm always talk. See if I look this candid conversation, y'all gonna get the real raw. I am always like when I call her, I'm always like the main one talking. Like I talk a lot. Everybody who knows me know I talk a lot. I be having something to
She
say, but I
is, she
talk a lot.
is, she
So
is.
this time, I'm gonna
But
pass
you
it to
know what?
that beautiful lady over there.
Let's see. Happiness. Read that question. Read that
I
topic
gotta
again.
read it again.
I've read it about 10 times.
It's not that hard, y'all.
No,
What's
it's
your
not.
order
Right?
of importance for love, happiness, and wealth?
Love, happiness,
Based on
and
the way you move, like right now. Based on the way you
I.
move.
Based on the way I move right now, the way I moved yesterday, yesteryear, um, 7 decades ago, love is important. I was born out of love. I was born into a loving family. So I know nothing but love. And that's true. That sounds melodramatic, but it's so true. And through that love comes happiness. Where there's no love, how can you be happy? I can't even imagine anyone being happy without love. So um, I'm drawn to love. And in all seriousness, I grew up in a family of love. It was love. That's the first thing that I was introduced to, from the love of my mom and my dad And even the I'll say the tough love of my brother, my big brother, and my sister. Um, and then, of course, as I went through life, I think that's what made it a little difficult for me because in as I matured and grew up and being introduced to different types of people, um, I had I had the shocker of realizing that different people love in different ways. Um, for me, as I said, growing up in a loving family, and that love was centered around Jesus Christ, um, the love of God. Um, I kind of, measured everything else with that, and of course, that's a tough comparison there when you compare the love of some people or what they consider love to the love that you have, and my love coming from Jesus Christ. Jesus is truly the center of my life. Um, and then, of course, happiness comes along with that for me. Um, and other things fall in place. Other things fall in place. This side of my life, I wake up happy. When I can breathe and I can see daylight and I can put my feet on the floor and they work, I'm happy. I'm happy. Um, I think right now, people, my peer group, uh, when we think about, I know you guys are like relationships, with uh, your partners and so forth. Uh, at this point in life, I'm not looking for any more permanent relationship. Stop smiling, La.
I ain't
Um,
smiling. Hmm. I don't believe you.
You know what? And they're always telling me,
Hmm.
you just speak your mind. I'm 70 years old. I can say what I want to say and justify it. So
Just
it's
don't let
hard
me
for
catch
me.
him. Don't let me catch that joker.
It would be hard for me, and I have no problems, no qualms in telling uh, guys, men who may approach me or what have you. It's real. I just come straight up. I don't play any games. It's hard because I've seen love. I've had love, and I had a wonderful king husband, the colonel. So it would be hard for anyone at this point to really measure up and fit into my ideal of a loving relationship. However, um, my goal now is just to spread the love through my appearance, through things that I say, planting those seeds of happiness in people. Yeah, I'll stop right there.
I thought, hey, I thought you was gonna keep on going. Yeah, so
No,
I get it
no,
from my mama.
I know, I know,
I
La,
say I
you
talk a lot. I
I
say,
know your
hey,
ears were pressed.
you the queen. I wasn't even gonna stop you. So before I say anything, I'm gonna read some of these comments. Um, so Vanita said, "Love has always been top of my list, but the type and meaning of said love has evolved for me." Say more. Say more. um, Kevin Linder, of course, my big
Hey,
bro. Always he
Kevin.
always out the box with it. He talk about love, happiness, then loyalty. He done knocked
Love
out wealth
and
altogether. So
Al Green had something there when the song "Love and Happiness."
yes,
Y'all don't know nothing about that.
he said he want to spice things up. What's going on, Miss Willa? So Vanita also said, right now, love is absolutely important for me. Robin Hood Church's credo is loving God, loving others, and then living grace. I like that. I like that. Um, my girl April, who is a you guys got look. I told y'all this is all about networking for me. Like I don't keep my real true friends and acquaintances and people in my inner circle to myself because they have anointings and blessings on their life that need to be shared. So I need y'all to right now go follow April Sampe because she is an
Hey,
amazing singer. Like she's so dope. She's so
I
dope.
tell you.
April says you have to make yourself happy to get love. Well, first her order was happiness, love, then wealth. She said you have to make yourself happy to get love. When you have happiness and love, you'll find wealth. And what's going on, Zach? Hey, Sheena. Um, Vanita says happiness now equals contentment slash satisfaction. Like Mama Lou said, I'm happy because of how the Lord has blessed me.
Amen.
And let me see. What's going on, Marcus? Marcus, another dynamic musician. He's a keyboard player. Good morning. Good morning, Alicia. April said, I absolutely love you. I love you back, girl. So, y'all wanna hear my order? Y'all hear my order.
Let's see. Does anyone else have anything to say before Lala speaks?
I promise I won't be long, right? So, the crazy thing is, my sister here, April, actually took the order that I was going to say. And so let me explain myself. So I said happiness, love, and then wealth. So initially I went with the whole, the ordinary order, which is love, happiness, and wealth. The reason why I said happiness, love, and wealth is because um, for me, I've learned that God is love. All love ain't God, but God is love. And so I first needed to recognize that and be, I think somebody else said, happiness is like contentment, satisfaction. And once I became aware of his love for me, that put a joy in my spirit, right? And so once that happened, the importance of love grew. But I became happy with the fact that I was loved. Like he loved me so much that he would protect me from things that should have took me under. That he would elevate me to places that I didn't feel I was worthy enough to be. And so once I really, really realized that I was loved, it created a joy inside of me, which made love important. And at that point, when love became of importance, I was able to exhibit love to other people because I realized that I was worth it. So like if I didn't feel like I was worth it, like it didn't matter, how much anybody else loved me. I didn't care. Like I was a good person, but I didn't think that deep. I didn't let people get that close to me. But when I realized how good God loved me and how important I was and how worth it I was, it changed my outlook on who I was, what my purpose was. And now I could see people for who they were. And when people were exhibiting true love to me, I could accept it. And I could also, in turn, give it back, give it out. And I could also give it out before they even um, show love to me because it was important. And the reason why was when I didn't deserve to be loved, God loved me. So I can now take love to a plateau that's different than where most people see it, where it's like, if they love me, I love them. Where people don't deserve, where I may feel like they don't deserve my love, I can still love them because when I didn't deserve love, God loved me. And when I love, then I can say, you know what? It matters to me that you win because you winning means that as I move toward success, my wealth is not only obtainable, but it's preserved. Like I don't have to worry about, anybody coming to put a damper or attack what it is that God is allowing me to build. So I'm happy with myself and I'm happy with the fact that I have somebody who looks over me that loves me enough for me to actually love others. And as I show love to others, then it puts me in a position where I'm not only thinking of myself, I'm thinking of that was my king. I'm thinking of other women. I'm thinking of
And that,
other people. And so it creates a community of opportunity where I can say, "Hey, yo, we all win." It's like when I'm looking at success, it's not just about me. Like I look at, like the branches of success, not just for myself. Um, because it creates a stability in it. It's like, yo, if I had this person holding up this branch and this person holding up this branch of success and wealth, then it's a little more secure. But that's just how I feel. I know my mom about to break me all the way down.
have you, you know, we go into life with expectations, our expectations. And one of the, I guess, probably the first disappointments that we experience, and certainly not the last, is when we go into a situation with our expectations and those around us, the world does not acquiesce to that. Um, have you ever known people who are just, they're just mad, they're just, nothing satisfies them, nothing pleases them? Um, a great man used to say, that great man was the colonel, my husband, say, I'm easy to satisfy and hard to please. And the thing is, you go in, when you go in with your expectations and the world around you does not acquiesce to that, then if you're not a strong person, you're gonna fall prey to that. um there's some people who just automatically, whether it's in a workplace, whether it's in your home, whether it's in a store, wherever, there are people who are just not, I mean, they are just not happy. We see them as being evil, but you know what? It is difficult to love anyone else when you don't feel good about yourself, when you don't love yourself. And one of the things that I encourage, and I did this for the almost 40 years that I was an educator in the public schools, I advocated students to, first thing in the morning, to look in the mirror and give affirmation, your affirmations, look at yourself, find all of the positive things that you can about yourself, so that when you go out into the world, you can spread that joy. I also, when my students, before they came across the door sill, I didn't do all the fancy dancy dap and, and all that. But what I did was I found something special about each student, even the worst of students. And I said that to them. And believe it or not, it started them on a good foot for that day. I could tell the difference in their behaviors and their attitudes, just, holding on to that nugget that I planted first thing in the morning. So, another thing, a thing that we do, we go into situations expecting other people to be the happy that we are. I had a niece who used to say, I got to find my happy place. And, I said, the more I thought about it, I said, that's a good thing. Find your happy place. Find your happy place. There has to be one. Particularly the fact that you're living, you're breathing, you're walking, you're talking, you know, that in itself is a blessing. Um, so, in summary, for now, that happy
You
place,
ended it already.
that happy place, you have to establish that. You can't find love in other people or other things. You have to find it within yourself, and then spread that around.
Well,
Yeah.
what I want to know, what is, first of all, Kevin said stop walking past and not speaking to everybody. If you're gonna walk past the lives, you gotta stop and let them see your
Thank you,
face,
Kevin.
handsome self. He said so. um, what
He's not a
is
morning person.
he is absolutely a night person. I don't understand. Like this dude, do not like when do his body like slow down? Like he a night person, a morning person. It's like times where he could go to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning and be like, yeah, I'm gonna wake up at 6 and practice and be up at like 5:45 on his base. Like what? I don't understand. I don't know what he eating that I'm not because I'm the one cooking the food in here. So I don't know. But what is what is your definition of these three things? Because I think, well, I believe that in order for you to even come up with an order of importance, it's necessary for you to define what these three things are for you. And
That's
so,
absolutely true.
because happiness is different for hey, there he is, there go my baby. Happiness is different for everybody. You know what it looks like. What happiness looks like is not the same for everybody. What love looks like is not the same for everybody. That's why I said God is love, but all love ain't God, because your love may be a little different. It's not the same. Like, you know, how you talk to me, you yelling, you like I'm yelling because I love you. Like, I don't know. But what does love mean for you? What does it mean to be happy? And what does wealth mean? Like, wealth for everybody isn't just money, you know?
Absolutely not.
So
Absolutely not. You know, I never, and I made this statement to someone yesterday or this week. Um, I didn't know I was poor until I got grown, and I'm looking around me like, hey, I never forget one of my besties in college. Um, I used to wonder how, we used to share in a lot of things together. And at one point, she and her husband, they were buying things, they were getting cars, they were getting this, they were getting that. And I'm like standing, like we do, standing on the sideline, like, how are they able to do all this? This was before the realization of the plastic, credit cards, the evil one. And so I realized that. But, for me, I said this that like as a child, I never knew that we were poor. My dad worked three jobs any given time and still spent that quality time with his children, with his wife, with his family. We took trips. We did a lot of things together in between his schedules. And so happiness, I knew the love, of course. And then, of course, the happiness came in being around those people who shared the same feelings and emotions that I shared. And wealth, as I said, even as I went through my Israel experiences, and those of you who were with us at the beginning and you know about the upcoming book,
please,
well,
Gerald, hold,
I,
pause for a second, Mama Queen. Gerald,
I'm on a
if you
roll. I'm
don't
on a
send this
roll.
lady some paper so she can write this book, she been writing this book. I am like over 40 years old. I need her to get
Exactly.
this book done.
So it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a good one. But wealth, I have never been broke. I have always had something, a penny, a dime. If you have a dime, you have a penny, you're not broke. And there were times when, and my children discovered this, there were times when, say, they needed something or I needed something, and I'm reading my Bible, just looking, flip, through my scriptures and so forth, and wow, voila, there's a wad of money that I had placed there at some point in time. Of course, my husband would say, "Oh, I must have put that there." But the thing is, God, the God in my life, is always on time, is always on time. We may think, you can get right to the edge, about to fall over, and he just scoops you up. And that's the way my life has always been. True story. I've never been broke, never been broke, because I've always, as I grew, matured, uh, spiritually, realizing that, when you have a belief system and that faith, you just totally rely on God. It might sound churchy, but it's real. It's real. Um, so love first, because God is love. He created us out of love. Happiness comes with the love. It's automatic. It's automatic. And then, of course, wealth. You're wealthy in knowing that you are loved, you are happy. And and this is another topic all in its own, on its own, the wealth when you're in a partnership, when you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, as you're working together, as you're working together, uh, that wealth can multiply. True story. It can multiply. So, for me, those three things, I think this is a great topic because it fits in with so many things that we're going through now today.
Mhm.
I thought about something, and I know she's going to cut me off shortly,
I'm
but one last thing for now. I thought about something yesterday. How many people, the stimulus thing, the stimulus that many folk have gotten, and some people are scratching their heads like because they've already, it's like so far in the past now, they've already spent it, they've already promised it, or what have you. I was wondering yesterday, how many people still have that money, that stimulus that they received? How many? You know, and ask yourself that. You know, as my pastor always say, if you don't look to the right, left, nobody will ever know that you're the one, you're guilty of not having that.
that's deep. It's deep because even though going back to your order, even though our orders are lined up differently, um, I still can feel what you're saying. Like I still get what you're saying, and I still my stance is still um, happiness, love, and then wealth, and it's only because of how I view happiness. And like I said earlier, like the fact, like I can't even understand what love is. Um, or I couldn't understand what love was until I received love from God. And I'm not talking about people. And I know that, biblically, God says the greatest of these is love. And it is. Um, when you think in terms of dealing with so it's God, then you, and then he's telling you how to deal with life and people in it. But when I'm right here on this side of the film, um, he's showing me what love is. So then love can become important to me so that I can exhibit what I need to exhibit to other people. So love in that realm, like when he says the greatest of these is love, is still that's still something that I follow. But before I get to that film, before I get to that realm of my life, there's him. And to show you how things work, like the analogy. So the greatest of these is love. God is love. He's the greatest. He's the beginning. He is the Almighty, right? He's exhibiting love on me. When he does that, I recognize that I do have worth, that he would love me regardless of what I look like. So love becomes important to me and I can exhibit love. So like I still have my order because the greatest is love. God is love. And then now in between this and this, I find happiness. I find true happiness because I know what it feels like to be loved unconditionally. In turn, I can take love and I can exhibit love to other people. And what that love looks like is different sometimes. Um, and that's why I say God is love, but all love ain't God. Um, because the love
But
that He
that's a very profound statement in the sense that look around. All you have to do is look around you. Look to the left, to the right. Um, you ever gone in a store and people just have frowns? You know, one of the hardest things for me, I'm from Virginia, heart of Confederacy, and coming to the metropolitan area, the hardest thing for me was getting used to the idea of speaking, because we're a good morning, speak to, you know, I grew up, there are people speaking to each other. And coming to the DMV where people are hustle bustle, rush, 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 uh, like New York. Nobody's really speaking or giving you eye contact, you know. So for me, it was kind of difficult, you know, gradually emerging into that culture. Uh, but it's you know, if we look at it from a carnal standpoint, from the carnal mind, um, you think about a newborn baby, um, even in the mother's womb. Um, and we think back to the Bible where Elizabeth, you know, was carrying a child, and the child leapt in her belly. Correct me, English students. Um, but I'm thinking first of that mother's love for that baby bump. You know, the love that a mother expresses most times for that baby. And then, of course, when the baby is born, comes into this world, there's happiness. So we're looking at it from a carnal standpoint, from the humanistic eyes. Um, you know, there's happiness. Now, of course, the wealth comes, some people have created the little piggy bank, you know, starting their little college fund as soon as the baby is conceived or however. So, you know, when you look at it from any standpoint that you look at it, love is that pivotal point. Love is a pivotal point. And as I said, and I will say, God is love, and Law has alluded to that. God is love. Those of us who are believers, and I trust that those of us who have that God in us, the goal is to spread that love wherever you go, wherever you go. And if ever there was a time that this is becoming more and more evident of spreading love, is during these pandemic times where people are resulting to, I believe the original idea that God had was for us to interrelate with one another, to share with each other. You know, people are sharing now. People are paying forward. People are, families are staying, and we said that, we've been saying that ever since we've been broadcasting. The differences. My thing is, okay, now what? When this is over, and it will be over, the pandemic I'm speaking of, then what? Are we going to go back to our old ways, or are we continuing to spread the love and concern that we're seeing now? You know, um, people, even though families cannot physically get together due to the social distancing, they're doing, technology is allowing us to stay connected. So, what are we going to do when this is over? Uh, And my prayer is that we will continue to spread that love, to show the love. If you wake up every morning, every day, and you have not reached out to somebody outside of your family, your inner structure, then um, I pray that you will somewhere discover that that happiness will come when the whole world globally is feeling the love that God shows for us. Amen.
Pass the offering plate. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I still like, so my stance still is what it is.
And that's okay. That's okay. You know,
Only, but only because of how I'm looking at it, you
agree to
know.
disagree. And I don't
And
think,
but it's not even a
don't think we're
disagreement.
disagreeing.
It's not even a disagreement.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
just
not.
how I view it, and the reason why I even asked this question is because a lot of times we go into judgmental mode, and without understanding of where a person is or how a person views things. And it's not necessarily the fact that they don't view it, it's just how they view it. And like, I can hear everything that you're saying, and even that of the things that people have wrote down or whatever that I read earlier. And I'm still in agreement with you all. It's just how I view it, and I may think a little deeper than some, or not as deep as some. However you view that. And so that's why my order is what it is. And so anyway, the reason why I asked the question is because I I believe that we first have to define those words for ourselves in order for us to get a true sense of how we view it. Because it's so easy. Like, some people just say, of course, love, happiness, and then wealth. Or, of course, happiness, love, and then wealth. Or wealth. And they just kind of throw it out there based off of the surface. And they don't really take time to stop and think about, what does happiness mean to me? Because in order for me to order it, or put it in, or prioritize it rather, I need to know what it means to me, not to the world, to me. Because I can hear what it means to somebody else, and it really doesn't mean that much to me. So as I move and as I operate, you don't see that love is at the top of my list, but it may just be because love to me means this. Some people have learned that love is wealth. You feel what I'm saying? So, like, to them, if they define love as wealth, meaning, if I love somebody, I'm going to, take care, I'm going to give them things, I'm going to keep giving them things. And all the time, just giving, 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 without careful thought, is not love. If somebody is if somebody is without food, is it better to just, every time you see them, you get them food to get them by for that moment? Or is it better to teach them how to get food and leave them
Teach,
be?
teach a man how to fish.
Or is it better to give them food and then teach them how to keep getting food? You know what I'm saying? So, like, it, to some people, and it's genuine. So to them, they may feel like they're helping. Like, every time I walk past them, the person is standing in front of the 7-Eleven, I'm gonna come out with a sandwich. And so I feel like I'm exhibiting love, and to me, that's helping that person. And then after they eat that sandwich, they're still hungry. And then what happens at lunchtime? And then what happens at dinner time? And what happens in the middle of the night when, their stomach is grumbling, and we, well tucked in our beds? Like, did we really help them? So, like, it depends on how you define these three words, that you can boldly and securely and genuinely put them in a level of priority for yourself. And it's for yourself. If you understand it, and you can, like one of my teachers used to say, if you understand it and you can explain it, then I'll buy it. Like, I'll take your point.
Great segue. Great segue. When I think about what you just said, I think about um, the art of educating children. I remember years ago when I started out teaching. Um, it you know it's very hard. It's difficult to have children come and sit down and listen attentively to your good teaching when they are hungry. I've had not physically in the school building, the school system uh, is issuing food for the students. How
Hmm.
can you learn when you're sitting there and your stomach is growling louder than the teacher is teaching? So, it really, as you said, the order, well, for me in my house, the order of this triad of love, happiness, and wealth comes as a result. The center of it is love. Because I love you, I'm going to see to it that your needs are met as best I can from my standpoint. Uh, and once you are fed, and this was the other thing with those kids, once they ate, you can see them all, sometimes, you have to watch the contents of the food because, sometimes, it over exerts them. But the idea is for them to, once they have received that nourishment, of food, then they can, cooperate with you, so forth, and receive the education, the knowledge that you are putting out. The other thing is, getting back to this love thing, is for me, love being the center of my life. There are several songs that allude to that. Mentioned earlier, Al Green had a love and happiness. Love and happiness. Yeah, come on, y'all. Y'all know your old hits, your OGs. You know
Sing
what I'm
it,
talking about.
ma. Sing it.
And love. Have you noticed when people are singing? Sometimes you're riding along and people are driving. They're just singing. They're so happy. They're happy. And the love is just coming out, just pouring out, just pouring out. Again, um, you can have all the money in the world. Look around you. People who have wealth and they are still not happy. They're still not happy. So, to have one without the other, or certainly without love being the center uh, of your life, if you have not love, what do you have? Okay. Drop it.
Don't drop the mic. Don't drop the mic. So,
Okay, I know.
let me see. Let me see. They all, they agree with you, ma.
Don't get quiet now. Don't get quiet.
So let me see. Dang, let me back up a little bit. Let me back up. So Willa said, "When I am loved for who I am, not what I do or look like, I feel loved."
Absolutely.
And I love you,
Absolutely.
girl. um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love me for me.
let's
Get
Get
see.
out
out
the
the
way.
Look, Johnny
As my
just said
son would
that.
say, you know. Oh my
Daryl
goodness.
says, "Until you've been in that position where you can only trust God, you will have a hard time understanding." And I've been there.
Of course.
April says, "Y'all should have a topic focusing on your worth. Many people don't know their worth." Hallelujah. You know what?
Look in the mirror.
That's the topic for tomorrow.
Affirm. Talk to yourself.
I'm gonna juice it up a little bit.
Talk
You
to
guys
yourself.
come back so we talk about it. Um, Willis says also, "Without love, I wouldn't have happiness, and wealth would be meaningless."
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Yeah.
Nita said, based on what you were saying, she was like, "That's why I'm saying my definitions have evolved, and it's important to define them. Like you have to know what they mean to you in order
Absolutely.
for you to even prioritize them. You don't know what they mean to you, then it don't
Well,
matter what order you
that's
put them
the
in."
importance, plug, in knowing and believing in a higher power. I don't know what your higher power is. I'm not judging you. Don't judge me. But for me and my house, my higher power is God. God is love. And through his son, Jesus Christ, he shows me every single day that he loves me. One of the first songs that I learned, Jesus loves me. This I know, for the Bible tells
Sing
me
it,
so.
ma. Sing it.
get out
Little
the way
ones
because he's
to him
Sing it. Don't talk
belong.
it. Sing it. She a singer, y'all. Sing
We
it.
are weak, but he is
Sing it
strong.
like.
Yes, and
way
I,
lost.
have resulted back to that song. Uh, as I've gotten older and more experienced and matured in spirit and in truth, I have gone back to that song, Jesus Loves Me. You know, that is so profound, so profound.
Jesus
And
loves me. Keep going. See, I thought I was gonna get it back. I tried, y'all.
yes, yes,
I tried. We're gonna
but
get her to sing
it,
one day.
I don't know who said it, but yes, you must love yourself. You must learn to love yourself. I dare say that this is the downside of a lot of relationships because people go into relationships expecting, going, they're expecting the other person to love them the way you love them, so forth. I just recently, have you ever been in a situation where you think you have this good relationship with a person, and in a ideally you're able to share and pair, you're able to speak your truth, but the funny thing is a lot of times when you're down you got people all around you, but when you start to emerge and you start to blossom like a flower, then people are looking like, yeah, she thinks she all that.
Mm.
The thing with myself, and this is one of the things, one of my platforms is love. It's all centered around love, um, because you don't have to agree with me to love me, and vice versa. Um,
That's
so
the hook right there.
the thing is loving yourself, and that is so important. I love myself. My mom, she was 87 years old. My mom was 97 when she passed. Praise God, bless her heart. Mother's Day is coming up. Yes. And I remember after a Thanksgiving meal, and we're all going around just sharing what we were thankful for, and she said, you know I'm thankful for me. I looked in the mirror the other day and I fell in love with myself all over again. And I will always remember that because I'm like at 87, almost 90 years old, and but I get it. I get it. Even after all of her life, and she was well beyond fourscore, she decided that she was worth it, that she mattered, that that face in the mirror, that image was an image of love that God had created. And after all those years, you know, to realize, she had made it through so many circumstances, that otherwise, she could have given up,
Yeah.
but she fell in love. I challenge everyone, fall in love with yourself, fall in love with God. Yeah, I'm campaigning for God. But whatever you believe in, whatever you call him, you can call him whatever you want. But when you think about, don't think about what's ahead. Think about what he's already done for you, where you are right now. And it wasn't by any, uh, just you alone or people around you or money or wealth. Look at all the people who have money and they're taking their lives. Why? Because they're not happy.
And I happy.
So I challenge everyone, fall in love with yourself, fall in love with yourself all over again. You know, fall in love with
I
Jesus.
was like, but what?
Give me
Uh,
five.
man, you just juice me up for nothing. I'm thinking, man, I need y'all to hear my mama say.
Ooh,
Hey,
yeah,
Natasha, what's going on, boo? So she says some people struggle with loving themselves and look for others to validate them. That causes them to
exactly,
struggle with finding
exactly.
happiness. So so what she just said
Profound.
is why my order is what it is. Because the fact that God would love me, like one, you wouldn't even understand what love it. Like I wouldn't even understand what love was, and I didn't understand what love really was, um, because it came in different forms for me, right? Until I recognized the love that God had for me and understood it for what it was. and that created a joy in me, a happiness in me, where I could even love myself enough to exhibit love to other people. But it was the joy that I felt, and that I feel when I think of how he first loved me. Like, he loved me enough for me to be where I am. He loved me enough to say that, the things that he's put me in charge of, that I'm worth being in this place, in this position. So the joy that drains from that allows me to in turn, like the circle of life, it allows me to in turn love other people based on how I receive that love from him and how it brings joy in my spirit. Then I can begin to see other people, because when you're drowning in your own self-doubt, it's hard for you to see beyond yourself. And so when he extended that love to me, and I recognized it, rather, when I recognized the love that he was extending to me, unconditionally, then it created a joy and stirred up something inside of me for me to in turn love. And then wealth for me is not money. Wealth for me, like, often we used to, when I first started dating my husband, and he was able to come around the family, um, he didn't understand how we could be sitting in the living room with a big old TV and be laughing and joking, and the TV not on. He like, so y'all don't really watch TV. Y'all just put the TV in the living room.
It's a
And
background.
it was because, like, I felt so rich in the fact that I had people in my life that loved me and created a joy inside of me, and that, we could be content, satisfied, with just being around each other. And to me, that was wealth. And, like, growing up, we didn't have money like that. Clothes came back into rotation often. And so money absolutely wasn't wealth for me, because we didn't have it like that in abundance. Even, being a pastor's child, like, my dad was one of those pastors that, um he didn't have a salary. He didn't take a salary at the church. Like, they absolutely, I don't know, people say that, and then there is
But he
a
didn't. Trust
there
me,
is
he did.
a identical check that
No,
goes out every month
no,
to make sure
no.
they take care of. And not saying that's a bad thing, but
Remember the
that's
time
close to
when
looking like
we
a salary to me. And my,
rem-
my dad didn't take that. You know what I'm saying? And there were times when he would go out and preach, and a church would, that was back when they used to put the money in the envelope, and it didn't have to be accounted for, and everybody, it has to go through IRS and all, and then they run, and then they give you a check because it has to equal a certain amount, or all that. They would just, everybody would take up an offering, and whatever it was, they put in the envelope. They ain't even count it, because if they was like, we gonna give an offering to the preacher, so it didn't matter how much it was, because your title was, we gonna get an offering to the preacher. So they would take up the offering, stick the money in the envelope, and he would be standing up there, and he'd be like, I'm gonna sow this back into this church. And as a pastor's daughter, I'm sitting in the pew like, daddy, we could have had more than liver
but
steak.
remember the times when we used to do the clothing giveaway, and we
Yes.
just have racks of clothing sitting in front of our little storefront. It wasn't a store; it was a house church,
Yeah.
and people were coming by, and they could not believe we can just take this, whatever you need. We were sowing into the community because it was all about the love of people and love of God. God takes care of us, so we take care of each other. We are our brother's keeper. And people were just so happy to get the clothing and the things that they needed without paying. If they didn't, most cases in that community, they didn't have it. And that's, to me, is showing love, is real love. And as you said, how can I've said this many times, if how can you love someone else and you don't even love yourself?
Hmm.
So because God is good to me, I am good to you. Not for any price. There isn't the only price is just planting those seeds of love. And I as I ask God every morning, every night, God, let me touch someone's life. That's all I need to do is to touch someone's life, encourage them so that
If I can
they,
help somebody, sing that real quick. Hit it, right, real quick for the people.
what was that?
If I can help somebody, see, man, I be trying, y'all. One
One day I
morning,
will. One day my morning voice is not
probably
there,
when the book come out,
but you know what?
probably when the
It,
book is ready. She
there are times you catch me noonday or maybe another time
let me find
because
out. We're gonna have
I
to
get
shift the time
sometimes
just so we can get her to sing.
I get so inspired just by it. Right now, I'm looking out of a window through the blinds at the trees, and the sun is just shining. Yesterday, Latif is working from home now. He's my housemate, and his office is situated such that he can look out at the greenery and so forth. And he mentioned something that perhaps many times we pass them by, dandelions. And he said, I've been noticing this one little dandelion plant where how the yellow eventually fades away and you have the little spuds around like a little and he equated it, he's such an artistic in terms of looking at things. He said it looks like a bush on someone's head, a bush. He said, but when the wind blew,
My brother,
apparently it blew the top of it off, so it was like it had a bald spot in the top of it. Who else can identify? But I'm saying
brother.
to myself, as he's carefully describing this to me, I'm like, that's God's love. Every little thing that God created, if you just take, we can learn so much from nature, from animals, as to how they love their own, and love, and the things that they do, and the song, I'm throwing out all these songs here.
I ain't
Um,
listening no more.
his eyes on the sparrow. I
I ain't.
know
And she throwing out all the songs she want me to sing. She trying to be slick. Mm. I ain't hearing you no more, ma. Mm.
remember when we go to different churches and I'm gonna ask my daughter to say payback. But anyhow,
Mm.
so in essence, it's the summary for me because I see the hour is approaching us or has approached us. But love is so important, and I see love as the center of everything, you know. And then from that grows happiness, grows wealth. As we are approaching what I believe is the climatic point of this pandemic uh, virus thing, that we will capture, like in a time capsule, capture the love that's being spread right now, so that when we are done with this virus thing, that we can continue to spread the love all around us, not just in our homes where people have been cooped up together, with families. Some of the families, husband and wife, looking at each other, they never see. I had noticed you had a bowl on your face right there. This is the closest some people, some families have been for a while, and being able to identify with children, your children's educational process, you know, I believe is giving parents more of a handle and more of a hands-on in more ways than one in
Yes.
their children's future.
Yes, Lord. Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna stop there. 'Cause like I said, we could talk on and on. I tell you, I hate to leave y'all.
I know, man. So since
You,
you hate to leave us with a song, I
well,
keep trying, y'all.
you start, and I'll chime in. How about that? Come on.
What we
That's what.
singing?
Yeah. Come on.
What we
One,
singing?
two, one. You start. Oh well. Well, to come. I'm giving a spoiler. I'm sure in the future our technician is going to uh, have us set up so that we'll begin with some music and end with some music.
We ain't
So
talking about that. We talking about cut dry, like no music, acapella, like just sing. You know what I'm saying? People try and hear you. People try and hear you. They try and hear you. I'm saying with so all right. I don't know, but let me just say this real quick. Let me say this real quick. So even though we all have come up with or different orders, like my one thing my mom always says to me: "To thine own self be true." When you think about these three words, um, and what they mean to you, first realize what they mean to you and define them for yourselves, and stay true to that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever order you order it in,
amen.
stay true to that.
Thine
Understand
own self
why
be
it
true.
is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you feel the way you feel by understanding the meaning of what each one of these words are to you. Like, what do they mean to you? Because that's necessary for you to even put it in any kind of order. They have
Absolutely.
to have a meaning, so attach that meaning to it, and however you order it, stay true to thyself.
Hmm.
Um,
You there you have it.
and I
Yeah.
don't have no arguments with it. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you believe it, because some of us say things and we don't even really believe it. We just say it because we heard it, because it sounded good when this person said it. You know, and we really don't understand what it means to us. So get that understanding, that wisdom, and stay true to thyself. You know, stand your ground.
Absolutely.
All right?
Amen.
So since we
Well,
talk about love, love
it's
is the greatest. Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love
with
with
Jesus
keep what
is the best thing I've ever done. There you've had it.
I ain't doing
And
this no more, y'all. I ain't doing it no
tomorrow's
more.
Friday
Either she gonna
already.
sing or I ain't chiming in with her. How she gonna stop when I stop?
Tomorrow is Friday. Can you believe that?
No,
All
back up,
in
back
your
up.
boot.
Before we get to Friday, let's talk about right now when we supposed to sing. And you said, "Well, you started now, chime in."
Yeah, well, I did
She gave
chime
me just a
in.
ding. That wasn't no chime.
Thank
She gave me a little ding, two little words, and then she was out. Like, come on, are you serious? I'm gonna get her on here singing for y'all, man. I'm like, look, she playing games. She playing games. I'm
Well,
gonna get
and
her on
I'm
here
just going
singing.
to say, love each other, love yourself, love each other,
Yes,
and know that this too will soon pass. This thing that we're in, it will soon pass. God is good. God is love, and love is God. Amen. God
yes.
bless you.
And I love you. And I know my mama loves you, and God loves you too. Remember that. Um, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's always an awesome time with you guys. All the people who chimed in for the first time. It's been awesome just being able to talk and chat with you guys. Those who put their comments in. We're here every morning, Monday through Friday, 7:30 in the morning. Morning tea with mommy. You can have coffee. You can have NutriBurst. You can have Slim Fast. You can have water. You can have smoothies. Whatever it is, whatever it is, just bring you and your spirit, and
Love
let's
you
get ready
guys.
to
Love
fellowship
you. Love
because that's what it's about. We love
you.
you. It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, wrapping up another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. And until tomorrow, which is Friday, we will see you
Friday.
bright and early. All right, guys, enjoy your day. Be safe. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. And thank God for life. All right? Peace out.
Amen.